This is the Red Book of Ferny Hall. It had been in the personal collection of Mrs. J.P. Morgan, Jr. The binding, I should say, is not original. This is a rebinding. So you're not seeing the standard red Morocco that you would on the red books of this period. Like many red books, this one has Humphry Repton's trade card pasted on the front cover. There you see him with his surveying instrument, known as a theodolite, and on the side, his assistant is holding a ranging rod, a measuring instrument. This red book begins with a charming compass rose with Repton's opinions of aspects, which scene has the best potential for improvement, and you can see that southeast, in Repton's opinion, has the best potential, whereas the western view of Ferny Hall is bad and the southwest worst. This is the title page for the Ferny Hall Red Book, which was produced for his client Samuel Phipps. Samuel Phipps was a wealthy lawyer who bought this property a couple of years before and actually had some work done on it by a local nurseryman, but for some reason decided that he needed more professional advice for the improvements on his grounds. So he invited Repton to spend 3 days at Ferny Hall to inspect the park and to make his recommendations in this Red Book. Many of Humphry Repton's Red Books would begin with a map of the estate to show the entire property. This one shows possible walks one could take through the woods, around a stream. This map also shows other neighboring properties that Phipps could purchase to enhance the scenic potential of his property. Here we see the approach to Ferny Hall. This is a typical watercolor in a Repton Red Book, in that it contains an overlay which shows the same scene before and after Repton's improvements. Here you see Ferny Hall in its current state, with a stable and a wall that's obstructing the view of the manor. When you raise the overlay, you then see that the stable and the wall have been removed, and you have a much more impressive view of the manor. In this watercolor, you see a view from the house to rather undistinguished woods, which Repton proposes to remove to reveal a view of a pond and to focus the eye on the pond. He proposed to build a bathhouse, which would be a much more picturesque view. Here we see a formal terrace, which is the way that Ferny Hall looked when Repton came to visit. Repton recommended to Phipps to do away with the terrace and have a natural view to the common with some picturesque appurtenances like the park bench and the little temple to the left. Repton designed a number of scenic walks you could take through the Ferny Hall estate. one of the walks passed through a ravine which captured Repton's imagination. Repton produced a watercolor, and the accompanying text describes the scenic potential. We cross the rivulet at the bridge and then ascend in the easiest manner possible to that awful scene of shattered rocks where the vestiges of some great convulsion of nature arrest the attention with wondrous but delightful horror. Well, actually, you don't see very much horror in this picture. What Repton is trying to do here is to allude to theories of the sublime. The sublime is a basic ingredient of Romanticism, and here you are seeing some of the earliest traces of Romanticism in Repton's work. Repton goes on to say, "When I looked at this unexpected scene, my imagination presented a wide but not neglected path, traversing the magic chasm in various directions, now passing betwixt the divided rocks, which project like the shattered walls of some ruined castle, then crossing from one to the other by a romantic bridge thrown beautifully across the chasm." So there he says it. It's a romantic bridge. You're seeing here in Repton's very early work some of the earliest signs of a romantic sensibility.